watching Morning at NTV.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us right here on Morning at NTV, and thank you for making us the #1 breakfast show in the country. We are heading into the Kickstarter conversation, and we are asking, can Uganda Airlines dominate East Africa's skies? That is the $64,000 question this morning right there. Now, while receiving 2 Bombardier CRJ-900 jets at Entebbe Airport recently, the acting CEO of Uganda Airlines, Mr. Conwell Mulea, was bullish. The industry veteran promised that his airline would expand beyond East Africa and take on regional giants on their home turf. Now, this would mean taking on Ethiopian Airlines in Addis Ababa, South African Airlines in Johannesburg, and so forth. However, there are questions on whether they can dominate East Africa to start with. To answer these questions, we have the acting CEO of Uganda Airlines, Mr. Conwell Mulea. He joins me right now in studio. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
First of all, congratulations on expanding the fleet.
Thank you so much indeed.
How is business so far?
Business has been good, pleasantly surprised from everyone involved in the airline. We started just over 4 weeks ago now. And the market has received our aircraft, obviously, and those who have flown with us, they say that we have the best service on board at the moment. Also, the aircraft performs very well. The ambience on board is good, our seats, our legroom. So it has brought a new product, really, to the regional aviation industry in Africa at the moment.
A new product to the aviation industry in Africa.
Yes,
so
that's correct.
What is this? What does this mean for the local tourism industry? I'm talking about domestic tourism. What are you offering our people down here in Uganda so that they could be able to tour most of the tourism spots in this country? We've realized that white people are enjoying the luxuries in Uganda, but the locals are a bit laid back, and the issue could be money related because of poverty. Are there some incentives, something you're offering, something softer for our locals so that they could be able to engage Uganda Airlines to these destinations like Chidebo?
I think one of the objectives that we set out to do, the reason why this airline was created, was because there was a concern about pricing.
Yes.
And pricing is in 2 ways. First of all, there must be a wider choice in the market. That is what influences pricing. So immediately upon starting, as Uganda Airlines, it means you're bringing another product which will influence all the others to price better. So I think Ugandans can look forward to that. The second is regular services and flights to all these points. The main issue was that on the domestic market, we needed to influence either starting of new domestic airlines or improvement of the current domestic airlines. And what we are doing, even though we start with regional flights, is to work on a program to put the local operators on our own timetable so that when we bring people from abroad, there is capacity for them to take them to the other points. So this is work in progress at the moment. We hope that within this first year of operation, we can activate that, which will increase flights to all tourism centers in Uganda.
That would be awesome for my people right here in Uganda. You know, I'm really passionate when it comes to domestic tourism, engaging our locals right here in Uganda.
Yes.
That would be wonderful, and I'll welcome it, and I believe the viewer right there would welcome it very, very, very much. Now, besides in-flight destinations, where are the new planes going to fly?
At the moment, you're flying to 5 points, as you know. So Nairobi, Juba, Mogadishu, Dar es Salaam, and Bujumbura.
Yes.
So the next step is for us to extend our services to Kilimanjaro, Mombasa, Zanzibar, those places which are in the East Africa region. The 2 new planes allow us to increase frequency, first of all, to all these points where we already have permissions to fly. And we are working hard together with the Minister of Transport and Minister of Foreign Affairs to open up the new points. We need to set up properly in other countries. For example, we have intentions to go to Johannesburg. We have intentions to go to Addis Ababa. We have intentions to go to other points, whether in Zambia, in Zimbabwe, and also to touch the West African points. But all these require setting up with the government agencies, and we are working hard on that so that we can start.
Let's take a look at the financial cost. Around August of 2018, there was a feasibility study that did indicate that the Uganda Airlines might grapple with some losses for the first 2 years of operations. We expected maybe, okay, voila, we have the planes, money will be coming in. So losses are being projected in the first 2 years, but you would break even in the third. Tell us why that would be the case.
I think when you are starting any new business, obviously you don't expect to immediately make money. This project, part of the attractiveness of the project is it creates infrastructure for the country.
True.
So Uganda being landlocked, it needs access to all the other points in the world, and the airline is the best means for doing so. Not only from a personal perspective, but also for industry, for investment, for tourism, agriculture, and exports. So that is why the airline was set up. So the benefits go beyond actually the bottom line profits. If I give you a few statistics, in the first 10 months that we have operated, I think our flights have been over 90% on time, which is the first ingredients. We have flown, more than 3,000 people already. So there is good ground. Every day we are seeing improvements in terms of the people coming to fly with us. There are a few startup issues which you normally deal with, including systems and access and distribution. We believe that once those are sorted out and they're fully in place, this will be the airline of choice in the region.
Awesome. Now, how are the competitors doing? Because we are saying we are taking our routes to Somalia, Juba, Nairobi, Burundi. How is the competition?
You see, the main advantage that we have is now we are taking people direct from here to all these points. For example, to go to Burundi or to go to Dar es Salaam, people used to take 8 hours via either Nairobi or some other points. Now we take them there in 1 hour, 20 minutes to Dar es Salaam, 45 minutes to Burundi. So these advantages is what we have seen as giving us a clear move for success. When you come in as competitors, it means the market grows also. And we have seen that even the competitors have welcomed us because they know we spend money on marketing. While they market on others, then the industry grows. And also, even though we are competitors, we also cooperate. So if, for example, we have a problem, we will put our passengers on the competition. Similarly, if they have a problem, we will recover their passengers, giving a better service to the consumer. And secondly, not everyone flies to all the points.
Yes.
But we have the capability of offering a ticket where we fly on our sector and then you fly on another airline. So those interline services are very important to the growth of the entire industry. And everybody has welcomed us because of that. Well,
Mr. Kono, you seem like you have everything figured out in that regard, and I must commend you. But there's also the issue of security. How prepared is Uganda Airlines to deal with the issue of terrorism at this point?
I think you have seen that initially we got our aircraft in April.
Yes.
On the 23rd of April to be exact. After that, we went through a period where we are getting our certifications and AOC. So what is happening, part of that process is the assurance of safe operations so that your regulatory authorities, they can be sure that once you start offering commercial services, you can fly those passengers safely. You have the security arrangements, you are cooperating with all the security agencies so that aviation is safe. So that's what we certified. Once we have we had fulfilled our mandate as an operator, then we are able to be allowed to fly. So all those things are at international standards now, but obviously we continue to cooperate with everyone else across the whole sector.
Have you encountered any incidences of human or drug trafficking in this case since you resumed operations?
I think within East Africa we don't have that problem. I think most of the issues that we have seen so far from the media have to do with overseas operations. Obviously, come 2021, when we start overseas operations, that's something that we have to be very live to. So we are already sharing data and information as to how we can tackle that problem in addition to all the other airlines in the region.
So right now there seems to be no problem right there at the Uganda Airlines with regards to human trafficking and drug trafficking. Everything seems to be fine.
We have not seen any incidences so far. Obviously, we have operated only for a short period of weeks.
Yes.
But like I said, those security and safety arrangements, it's really not only Uganda Airlines, but across the board, across the aviation industry, and we share data and operational procedures for that.
Indeed, I must commend you for that readiness. Now, when should we expect Uganda Airlines to be flying direct to New York?
New York is not immediately in the radar. When we start with the long-haul services, we are looking at places like London, Dubai, Guangzhou.
Yes.
There are other play points to West Africa because we need to connect them to connect to these overseas markets, as well as Southern Africa. So those are the immediate points where most traffic out of Uganda has been moving. So we are following that so that we offer them that better service and direct flights to these points.
So enthusiasts who wanted to throng New York for now, you have to wait a little bit, according to Mr. Cornwell. Now, Mr. Cornwell, overall, let's take a look at Uganda Airlines overall and the aviation in Uganda.
Yes.
Where do you see Uganda Airlines? Let me see, 2030.
We see an airline, I think that is going to be very big. Because you base the success of the airline on its home market. Uganda has all the ingredients. As we said, from the feasibility study, it showed that, look, Uganda had 40 million people or plus. The economy is growing at an average of 6% per annum. It's forecast to continue growing at that rate. So you expect in 10 years that the traffic that we currently see is going to be doubled in terms of aviation. So you're talking about 3.5, 4 million people flying. That is a lot of business for an airline.
Indeed.
Yeah. So the forecasts show that this is the best projects that we can make at the moment to save Uganda for the future.
Now, what is the plan for routes airlines like British Airways have abandoned? We are talking about that London to Entebbe route.
Yes, that one we are forecasting to start in 2021. Yeah, once the A330s come, that is one of the routes that we are looking at.
So how do you plan to deal with that?
We are working, to open up the route, you have to start very early, especially the long-haul routes. So we have already initiated actions with the Ministries of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Transport, to get the permissions that we need. And the long-haul market books quite far, at least a year in advance. So already we are putting our marketing teams to work. We are also initiating our actions to go and open offices worldwide, working with our Ministry of Foreign Affairs and our missions abroad. So all this is work in progress to make us ready for us to start those flights.
Seems so you're set to, to go. Everything seems in order. Uganda Airlines resumed on August 28th. Now, Cornwell is in studio right here telling us everything is okay. If you want to go anywhere, we have direct flights, even in-flight destinations. Just make your way to Uganda Airlines right there and book yourself a flight anywhere in those 5 destinations, and more will be expanded in the near future. Now, Mr. Cornwell, we are still bantering.
Yes, sir.
I know it hasn't been an easy journey since you resumed operation, so you must have grappled with a few challenges. What are some of them?
Yes, the few challenges that we have had have to do with connectivity. Obviously, when you start putting your systems, you can control systems in-house, but you have to connect to other systems that give you a worldwide network. So we're still working on that. We have had quite an issue on the website visibility, which we are working on together with our IT personnel to see how that can be scheduled. As you know, when you are starting a business, there are also other people who want to leverage on what you have started. So on the connectivity issue, we have had a few issues on the website side. Otherwise, the rest is just getting everything in place. We have to work very hard to get the people in, to have everybody trained, both on the systems and on the facilities that they have to operate. We have got to institute a culture that we want to see of service in the airline, reflecting what Uganda has to offer. We have to make sure that everybody is properly kitted with uniforms and that they're representing the brand of Uganda, which people can be proud of. So those are many elements which we will take the best part of this first year to get right. And we believe that once it's finished, we will have an airline that this country can be proud of.
Also, Mr. Cornwell, this acting CEO Uganda Airlines, we're bantering the future of Uganda Airlines right here in Uganda. Now, I believe you have some good news for us. Since you resumed operations, you must have achieved some good, you know, right there in that regard. What are some of them?
Well, the good news is that on board, we are serving Ugandan products. As you know, Uganda has the best fruit in this region, maybe even in the world, because it's organic fruit and everything. So our meals are good on board. We have got most of our people are Ugandan, reflecting the service that we are offering. And I have to say that the initial impressions for everyone who flies with us is that we have gotten it right on service. So there is something there that people can look forward to. The second issue is we are now here. I know a lot of people didn't believe when we were starting this project.
They didn't even think it would flag off.
No, they didn't think that this airline would fly. But thanks to, obviously, the government and their foresight in making sure that the airline comes on board, we are here, and we have been fully supported in terms of funding according to the business plan. We are getting great cooperation from civil aviation authorities here and across the board. So we believe that we have started at the right time. And that with the support of the people of Uganda, we will succeed. Obviously, this is not our own project. We need to appeal and give them the best service. So we'll do our part, and we hope that with that they can support us.
Now, Mr. Cornwell, on this show, we debunk rumors vis-a-vis misconceptions right there. Now, we want you to help us debunk this rumor. There's a rumor that tends to purport that the president decided to resume Uganda Airlines operations as a campaign move as we gear into the 2020 campaigns and then the 2021 elections to garner more support from the masses right here in Uganda. And they say it was a hurried process because of politics. Do you believe this was a hurried process?
The project started way back in 2015. We are now in 2019, so that is 4 years plus. There was a feasibility study which alone took 2 years for all the technocrats to debate, for government to really decide whether this was a project worth taking on, and also for linkages to the economy across all sectors to be calculated in terms of their impact on the fiscal budget. So that is not a small thing. I don't see any hurry in that. I believe that they took the right steps so that everybody could be convinced, both inside and outside of government. The project was scrutinized in terms of the elements. The routes were scrutinized. The traffic profiles came from data that is independently sourced, not out of here. I believe all the right things were done, and that is why you have seen that once Uganda Airlines has started, it is sticking to its promises. We said 2 aircraft in April, 2 in September. Everything that we said we would do,
and more to come in 2021.
And more to come in 2021.
Well, you've heard it from Mr. Cornwell. If you're a conspiracy theorist and you're right there at home and you were thinking, oh, no. Government resumed Uganda Airlines as a campaign ploy to garner support from Mr. President. No, you're absolutely wrong. According to Mr. Cornwell, this was a project that started right there, 2015. Visibility started for the last 2 years. So this has nothing to do with politics, but it has to do with political will, and it's a political gesture with regards to developing our country, our tourism industry in that regard. Now, Mr. Cornwell, as we wrap up, do you have any final words for our people right there watching? Do you have any incentives, reduced prices for the locals to engage them more?
No, I think we are running promotional prices at the moment, which have been welcomed to the market.
Yes.
What I can only say is that to the people of Uganda is that this is your airline. It will succeed or fail depending on how we support it. And we support it in many ways. First of all, there's flying on the airline as your first choice. Secondly, you need to be involved in the supply chain to give us the best of your products so that we can showcase them internationally. And that is how we'll grow the brand Uganda. And thirdly, we need to be positive about projects in Uganda. So we must have a positive impression about our airline. We must talk highly about it. We must support it. Not blindly, obviously. When we make mistakes, we would like to know what mistakes we have made so that they can be corrected. But at least the negative attitude towards the airline, I believe sometimes is not fair. But I think if you believe in a project and you've seen that, you know, promises have been kept, I think it bears on you to be fair and give your support, because this will benefit.
So in your opinion, there is need for Ugandans to exhibit patriotism with regards to Uganda Airlines and its operations?
Not all of them, but some.
CEO of Uganda Airlines, Mr. Cornwell Mulea, right there, joining us right here on Morning at NTV. Thank you for having made the time to speak to us.
Thank you
You've
so
been
much.
very, very helpful.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Yes. You're still watching Morning at NTV. The banter has been about the future of aviation in Uganda. You've heard it from Mr. Cornwell Mulea, a very prolific person right there, the acting CEO of Uganda Airlines, telling you that no way security-related issues have been resolved. When it comes to the issue of politics, it's non-existent at the airlines. They're actually coming up with cheaper incentives for our people to engage them when it comes to domestic tourism. My name is Romeo Busiko, and you're still watching Morning at NTV. Let's take a very short break. We'll be right back with more exhilarating information. Keep it here.